So on today's episode of Cerebral Palsy Warrior, I've got my uncle with me once again, and we're going to be discussing African culture and especially, the African culture or Black culture towards disabled people or people that are less able than, the so-called normal people. So yeah, I'm going to be discussing and asking my uncle a few questions on on this subject of people that are less able than what we class as normal, and how together as a country or a nation or an ethnic group, how we can, build bridges and just open people's perspective. So thank you once again, Uncle Umar, for coming onto this podcast. So yeah, in your opinion, or why do you think Black people or people in our country and people in our ethnicity, why do they find it hard to accept that their child or their sibling may have a disability?
Oh, what an interesting question, Chidima. I'm really, really proud and very, very pleased to discuss this very topic with you because, as much as I know that is something that we all know about and it's in our everyday life. And I've known you since you were a child and seeing you grow from a young little child to a grown woman now. And I'm really happy that this particular issue we're talking about it today because it's something that both me and you share in various ways. Yeah. In my opinion, I think that there is a whole lot of issues that contribute to that. And partly one of the key issue is the stigma. We come from a culture where there's a lot of stigma. This particular stigma is also stems from lack of understanding. Maybe we don't have to be clinicians or medical professors or medical doctors to understand that when a woman is pregnant, it's a very, very complex process. A lot of things goes on from the clot of blood, of clot of sperm to the child developing. It takes thousands, if not millions of processes, changes, constant every minute, every second of that pregnancy, there's constant change. And along the way, things are bound to not go right or not formed accordingly. And obviously, there's a lot of contributory factor why things doesn't go well, but we'll come to that. But the key thing is why we don't understand it is because of, like I said, lack of understanding and lack of awareness on this complexity and this complex process that takes from the day a woman conceives a baby to the day she delivers this baby. And even during delivery, a lot of things do go wrong. But this also stems from not just the stigma, but also the misconception about the causes of disability, i.e., and when it comes to misconception, there is cultural side and also religious side. Let me first of all come to cultural side. From a African point of view, most people believe that when a woman is pregnant or a child is born and the child is deformed or there's disability of some sort on that child, from a African culture, some people say, oh, it is bad deed from from our previous generation, i.e., previous generation. It could be bad deed or evil from our great-grandparents or parents. It could be bad deeds or evil from something that the parents or grandparents did in their previous life. This is why their child is deformed or has got this form of disability or the other. Some people even think that it's a supernatural thing, forces or demon or witchcraft.
Yeah.
You can see it's not just from they're not looking at it from a medical point of view, they're looking at it from a cultural point of view, because they don't have that awareness, they don't have that understanding, this complex process. And there's no thing that exposes them to things like scanning, what we have in this part of the world, where when a woman is pregnant, you can do scan to see how the baby is developing, maybe after 20 weeks, maybe after 30 weeks, and so on and so forth, and it's monitored. The second misconception is religious. It's what I call religious beliefs, right? This is, we as Africans believe that good things is attributed to God and bad thing is attributed to devil.
Yep.
Right? When you have a child and this child is born and everything, all the limbs, all the eyes, everything is, perfect, so to say, it is, praise be to God, it is God work. When there's disformity or something didn't go right, maybe, I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe what the mom ate or maybe what the mom took during pregnancy or suffering during pregnancy or also, or the baby didn't form well because something went wrong, it is attributed to devil, bad things, demon, spirit, witchcraft, devil, punishment from God. Can you see where I'm coming from with this?
Yeah.
So I think, again, because of this, as a result, nobody likes, in my culture and in our culture, nobody, or African as general, or people of third world countries, or nobody likes bad things, to be attributed to bad things. Everything we want is good. He's a lawyer, he's a doctor, he's a perfect child, he's very intelligent, he will develop to be normal, very normal human being, have the best profession, beautiful looking woman, beautiful looking guy, tall, everything good is all acceptable. If there is anything negative or bad, it brings hatred, it brings resentment, it brings blame. Can you see where this comes from? Now, as a result of all the above things I've mentioned, the stigma, the misconception, disabled people are seen as people they're not true human beings.
Yeah, second class citizens.
Absolutely. They are a source of shame. They are also the consequences of that means that they are not treated as normal human beings. Yeah. Now, in this part of the world, we are well privileged because there's a lot of things that goes on here. Government at governmental level and as a family level has done to support family with disabled children and support disabled children and integrate them into the society. Unfortunately, in most third world countries, with these beliefs and this stigma and this misconception, even policymakers do not see it as beneficial to the society, right? Now, there is this misconception about, okay, a child is born, he or she is disabled. There's also a second step misconception to say, oh, they are not medically, mentally and physically able. They cannot assist because of their disability, right? They are unable to contribute financially, and they are not able to have normal relationship. They are not able to, because of the disability, they are not, even believe that some of the disability is contagious. Oh, because it happened to you, it might happen to me, or, this devil might come to me. I read a lot of stories in Africa where children who are disabled, for no fault of theirs, is victimized, thrown at them, rejected, dumped on the street, disowned, spat at, abandoned to to their own devices.
Yeah,
I mean, it is.
Yeah, that leads me actually, because I remember you just saying that. I remember, I think it was the last time I went back home, Nigeria. It must have been early 2000s, or maybe between 2002 and 2006. There was this, obviously, he was an amputee, he didn't have any legs. So you just see him like on a rollerblade, pushing himself across. And as you know, you've been back to Nigeria a lot of time. The the roads are not like it is in London, where there's
Yeah.
separate crossings. There's no separate crossings. So I remember seeing this guy on a road on a skateboard. He had no legs, and he was just left there. And I'm like, and I remember going to my mum like, Mum, like, isn't there any way we can help this guy? Like my my heart broke, because I know for a fact, and that's why I thank my God every day that my mom, you know, had the privilege of coming to this country and me being born here, because I know for a fact that if I was born in Nigeria, I'll be left to my own devices. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm really happy you said that, because again, it's the second thing I'm coming to, because you see, there is also, apart from the cultural and the religious and the stigma by individuals, there is also government. Our government has also taken a serious blame and got to be blamed for the inaction in that side of thing. Try to help parents, because let's be honest with you, if you are a disabled child and you come from a very poor background, maybe your mom and dad doesn't have much financial, they're not poor, they're very poor. It's difficult for, they can't even feed themselves, not talk of looking after. It takes a lot of resource to look after a disabled child. And sometimes this abandonment is not their fault. It's just the environment they found themselves. And the fact that our government in those countries, or those countries, government in those countries blatantly failed to recognize, to assist parents of disabled children and disabled children in general. They don't exist in the society, which is a travesty.
So do you think that, do you think this is where education needs to come involved?
Yes, also not just education, but also there is awareness.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Awareness, but also it requires a lot of economics, money. Because when a woman is pregnant, like I said to you, and there's a lot of things that could go wrong if you don't look after a woman. If you don't look after a woman, it's what is called early intervention. Yep. Whether on the woman and on the child, you've got to make sure that the well-being of the woman, the pregnant woman or the mother, is paramount, is key. You have to make sure that for the 9 months that this woman is taken care of, which translates to a child equally being taken care of. Because if the woman is suffering or eating the wrong food or drinking the wrong thing, or some form of something happened, just split second, it can have detrimental effect on the woman and, more importantly, on the unborn child.
Yep.
So the key thing is that what do we do in this country? What we do in this part of the world is they have clinicians and medical profession and clinical advancement to make sure that every single pregnancy is monitored from day one till the child is delivered, and during the first couple of years of the child and beyond. Now, what do? They make sure that they are checking the well-being of the child, the well-being of the mother, supporting the mother economically. And even when the child is born, look at you now, when the child is born and they're disabled, they find the reason why this disability happened. Is it something that will happen to the mom during pregnancy? Is it something that due to the child was deformed while in the womb? what caused it so that it doesn't repeat. And also, even when the child is born, there is incredible support, not just for the parents, because what happened? Sometimes parents abandon their disabled child, even the able one, not talk of disabled one, just because they could not afford it, they could not support the child. There is a incredible, well-established support system in this part of the world to support the whole family in going through these difficult and challenging times. Apart from the stigma, because people can stigmatize you about whatever, but as long as you get governmental support or financial support from the government or from your loved ones, it lightens the load, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right. But then again, what happened? We also need legislation, because what legislation has done in this part of the world is to make sure that there's deals with discrimination.
Yep.
And also deals with social inequality between the able and the disabled. Make it possible that you can go to work now. You live on your own with obviously some support from the government or social support.
Yeah.
Now, this is paid for. This is how the system integrates into society. And everybody coming to see you, you go to work, your colleague sees you that you're capable and you can hold down a job. No, and that's how the system integrates you, or the government helps to integrate into the society. So there's this degree of acceptance, not like, oh, he's not good, she's not good, just leave her to crawl around, it doesn't matter. She's not, literally praying for you to just one day go away.
Yeah.
Which is very, very sad. Just praying for you to go away. And because of that, also, like I said, religious belief and cultural belief that every good thing that happens comes from God. Every bad thing that happens from is devil. They're thinking, oh, this child is disabled, is devilish, it's not good, it's not. They even don't feel proud to present it to people, to their family and friends and beyond. They don't even want to walk on the street with you. Feel proud that you are their child, because it is shame. Which is very, very, it's tragic. And we've got to address that, because there is a lot of things there's more to disability, i.e. they can equally hold a job, they can go to school and become graduates, become doctors and nurses and lawyers and engineers. It depends on how you support them. And that early intervention is very critical, whether a disabled person is successful or not successful.
Okay, so there's something I want to ask you. So,
yeah.
Obviously, you've said you've known me for a long, long time. So, prior to you ever knowing about me, one, have you ever met a disabled person before me? And two, ever since you meeting me, what has your opinion of disabled people, has it changed in any way, in any shape or form?
Yes, I grew up with my first few years in Nigeria as a youngster. I saw a lot of these people who suffer epilepsy, who have no limbs, who crawl around in their little whatever improvised means, to get them around. And it does kill, even as a youngster, it did kill my heart, because I'm thinking, why couldn't government intervene and help these people? But as a youngster, I was powerless.
Yeah.
But what I did, I remember traveling to Nigeria years ago, and my half brother was he was epileptic, and the whole of the family looked down on him. I called them and said to them, look, guys, okay, I have been in London, educated in London, and grew up in Hackney. I think I'm lucky, because I came to UK at a very, very early age, and it helped form my mindset about disability and inequality. And I went home, I said to them, look, they said to me, why are you giving him more? I said, because in Western world, the society is modeled to support people who are less able. That's why I'm giving him more. We should be working for him. They look at me like, are you crazy? He is not good. We are going to school. I said, no, he deserves more resource to enable him get on in life more than any of you. But I think they didn't understand the rationale behind my thinking.
Yeah.
Now, meeting you and growing up and traveling all over the world and seeing a lot of people, I work towards helping the less privileged. In fact, me and my wife had this conversation a lot, whereby she's from Denmark, and she keeps telling me that, which I already know because I used to work in Denmark and other countries of the world, that the system works to support the less privileged or vulnerable member of the society. And I know that is the opposite in the part of the world where we come from, or I grew up, or I was born. And I said, you know what, I agree with you, because I think that the money should be a chunk of our, the country's economy should go towards people who are less privileged. And that is how the able-bodied ones will now show respect towards the less able, because if all the resources channeled towards the able-bodied ones because the disabled ones are not good, it confirms their belief and their superstitious belief, their misconception that we are the ones blessed, who are the one that money is pumped on us because we are able to get good education, earn more money, contribute more to the economy. But that is not true, because if we spend more and support the less privileged, they can now support the society and contribute better or equal to the able-bodied ones. Do you know what I mean? So to drive the point home, yes, seeing you and talking to you, I mean, I could say that I grew up with you, because there's never been a time I take my eyes off you. I've always followed you from the time you were literally a baby, a year old, till today. I followed you, and I've seen what resource can do when you challenge to the right person, i.e., if once because of the resource, assuming that we have a replica of you, one in Africa or Nigeria and one here, when you, and then 30 days or 35 years later on, bring the both of them together, you will see a great difference, because you're an able-bodied woman now, supporting yourself irrespective of the disability you have, compared to the one grew up in Africa. You will see two different people. Not because the one in Africa or the one in Nigeria is incapable, but the system was not there for her, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
All right. And that's what it is. It's not just all about disability. It's all about what do we do to support these people? Early intervention, economic intervention, social support and acceptance, economic support for families, education, medical research. Why does this happen? Because sometimes women who are pregnant in an abject condition can now give birth to disabled baby. It sounds stupid, right? So I'm sure you heard about something we all know about the thalidomide, which is a drug that was distributed and given to pregnant women years ago, that led to deformity with babies, just to reduce their morning sickness, and then it created havoc to the unborn baby. Now, but the government intervened to make sure that this drug was withdrawn and cannot be given to pregnant women. And also, it transpired that till today, the pharmaceutical company responsible for this are still paying to support these disabled children all through their life. And I think that's what economics can do. Well, that's what money can do. All right?
Okay, so my final, also, again, so for anyone that is listening to this podcast and they're from, all parts of the world, Africa, or, Middle Eastern countries where, there's not a lot of, support out there, and, and they're finding it hard to, to raise the disabled son or the disabled daughter, what would your advice be to them?
My advice to them is I won't mince my word. It's difficult to have a disabled child. It is difficult. It's challenging from all walks of life, economic, social, support. But what I would say is, I don't know if I will use this word, religion. We cannot all be perfect. If we ever think about disabled people as not real human beings, then we are mocking God, because God creates everything.
Yep.
Good, the bad, the ugly. So if we say that they are not good, or we should discard them, then we are challenging the work of God, because everybody soul born into this world is the work of God. There's always a reason why these disabled people exist, whatever disability they have. And if you look closely and look at them, some of them have become athletes, some of them have become scientists, doctors, lawyers. So their disability doesn't limit them. It's just, again, like everything in life, the resource you put into them, the resource you use to support them, is what determines whether they're successful or they're just crawling around and not good to the society. You have to make them integrate them into the society and support them. As long as they have parental support, they can go beyond leaps and bounds to achieving their aims and objectives in life.
Yeah, I think, yeah, like you said, because I think, especially with me now, I think, again, as you said, I'm living my life, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but there's a lot of, like, judgmental people out there saying, oh, people like you exist. I didn't know people like you exist. I thought, people, I thought people like you were still in institutions. And this was like maybe more than within the last 5-6 years. Do you know what I mean? And so I do think, yeah, there needs to be more education, there needs to be more awareness. And I do think that it starts from home. I think it starts from the parent, so like from when the kid is about 2 or 3, get them to interact with people, that may not look like them, because it's from a young age. That's when they start to absorb more information.
I guess it's I agree with you. It's a difficult subject, it's a difficult matter, and you have to have a thick skin as parents with disabled child. You have to be proud of your able-bodied children as much as your disabled children, if you have one. But again, like I said, there are certain things that, yes, individuals can do, but I'm not going to say, oh, without the government, we cannot love our disabled children. We have to love them. We have to care for them. Anywhere in the world, particularly in this part of the world, there's a lot of facilities for your able children and your disabled children. I think the society has gotten a bit better compared to 30 years ago or so. There is a degree of equality. There's a lot of legislations now. A lot of European Commission, the British government, the United Nations, all the NGOs have now recognized that even they get disabled people to address United Nations and speak up in international forums, just to say, yeah, these people are capable. I think that should be a motivation for those parents who are going through challenges with raising a disabled child, that everything is possible. Put all your effort, do your best. But ideally, if you ask my opinion, I would say we should spend more money, particularly from in Africa. We should spend a lot more money on disabled people and towards integrating them into the society, educating them, and then exposing them, not discarding them. We should not discard them. We should bring them in, make use of their best they can offer to the society, and see what we get. I think we'll be in for a surprise.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Uncle Umar.
You're welcome.